Okay, Ken. So the first thing that we're going to do in order to stay away from the hooks, low lefts, and get a little more carry and to take that shot out of your game is you have to get your left thumb. We're going to extend that really far down. Because that's a little bit of a risky move that I do for some people every now and then, but for you, I don't think it's your fingers are not long enough to take your hand dominance out of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's a good thing to do. And the right hand right on top of it. As you go back, I want you to set that club as early as you can. Okay? Feel like you set it a little bit more vertically. Earlier set with the wrist. Do two things. Open the face a little bit. And of course you want to, when you turn through the ball, you want to be as level as you possibly can. You don't want to let any right side drop. And as you come through it here, you want to start getting your belt buckle to the target a little bit earlier. See where the other thing that we did that's going to help you is because we're going to make the swing a little more vertical, right? You got to come into the ball a little bit. See where your contact is right here? It's on the toe. And when you see a club look like that after impact, like 20 yards right, 20 degrees open, it's because it hit the toe of the club. This is a collision thing. It's not you opening the face. The face will open every time you hit it on the toe. The odd part about it is because of what's called gear effect on the club, it will hook from there. You'll hit low hooks. So in order to get you more centered, we're going to bring you in slightly to the ball. Because remember what we're trying to do in the big picture with you is everything is designed to get you a little bit less rounded, right? A little bit less flat. So those are those things are, things that you do, I don't know, you could say individually. So like by now, if you could, I'd like to see your wrist cocked a little bit more at that point. So we can add some carry for you. The flatter you swing the club, the more it's shut it is. So that's what we have to do is to kind of get that, that's a pretty closed club face there, Ken. And if you just by cocking your wrist a little bit more, you're going to open that face a little bit. Now, as you start down, as I watch you go through here, look where you finish. And then if you can get here at the finish, you could get there a little bit earlier. If you stay over the ball, set your wrist, swing more vertically from a little bit closer to the ball, and work on your body controlling your swing through and not just hanging back and flipping the club at it. You should, with the longer thumb, you should not hit one ball left. And if you are, then you're not doing one of those things because that's every anti-left that you can make in a swing. Right? So you got a little the thumb, what it effectively does is weaken the left hand a little bit without having to move it over. So you got a little weaker grip. You're going to set the club as early as possible. That's going to keep you from swaying off of it, and it's going to open the club. This is closed. That's very closed right there. It should be like that right now. Okay, so if you can cock your wrist with that longer thumb, you're going to get it a little bit more open. That's really, really the big deal in keeping the ball in the air longer and not letting it move to the left. Wrist earlier, weaker grip. As you start down, very little slide. You want to think about as soon as you come down, you want to start turning to face the target with your hands out in front of you. Yeah. A lot of people let their head roll with the ball. They don't keep their head down so long so that it helps turn through. It's hard to turn your body if your head's down like that. A lot of weight in the head. So I'm not saying, you do that like Annika or David Duval did it. I mean, Annika would be looking at that ball by now. But they discovered through their own trial and error process that they couldn't turn through if they kept their head down too long. And this is something that's drilled into golfers from day one. Keep your head down, keep your head down, keep your head down. You don't keep your head down. You absolutely do not. You just make eye contact with the ball, but your head has to roll with the turning of your body. And if it doesn't, you're going to be late in turning. Your hip should not be looking at the ball right now. And if you say, well, I'm stiff or I'm getting on in years, and that's the reason, well, then how come you're there now? Right? That's what I always ask myself. Are you not turning through the ball because of your age, or are you not turning through because you're late? Well, very often it's because I'm late. And the best part to work on keeping limber as you get to be senior golf is right here. The glutes, the hamstrings, the lower back. Keep doing your stretches, keep doing your strengthening, and it's really going to help you move through the golf ball better. We got to get less of a slide from you and more of a turn. All right, so that's it. You hit some balls up in the air yesterday, which was really encouraging, the flight of them. Okay. So what I'm going to do here for a minute, Kenny, is I'm going to go over to your better half, and I'm going to review Lillian's pitch shot. Lillian, so you guys can watch this together. Lillian, you have to get this right hand on top more, and the most important thing is I'd like to see you get a 60-degree club, or at the minimum a 58-degree club. Something stronger than a sandwich, because you have a tendency to close the face of the club. When you close it, you're taking loft off of it. And with those high, soft pop-up shots that you were asking me about yesterday, we need more loft. And listen, you don't have to go buy the latest brand. Just make sure it's a graphite with shaft with 60 degrees on it. Not a big investment at all. We just need more loft. The dynamic part of it. Okay, so you're going to get more loft, and you're going to weaken your grip. Okay, that's both designed to pop the ball up more. All right. Now, again, sorry for the handheld camera, but my other camera is kaput. I found out today, so I'm buying another one a little later. When you're over the ball, you have to set the wrist. Now, as you start down, you have to let this part keep moving. You can't stop this and then flip the head of the club. Same thing I was telling you guys in chipping yesterday. You have to keep moving, and again, like I was just telling Kenny, you don't have to keep your head down. That's going to stop your body from turning. I've got to get this foot off the ground, and you did really well after we did a couple of these too, and you notice that they popped up nicely. But it's not done by flipping the club head. That's what you both have to realize. It's done by loft on the club and the body moving as you go through. And that'll set the ball popping up. Now, because you're going to 60 and because we're keeping the face open more, I want you to feel aggressive with it. Your swing does not have a lot of speed. So I want you to take a club that you can be aggressive with, because the harder you go at it, the more likely you are to use your body to hit it, right? Now, if you skull one over the green, it doesn't mean that you swung too hard. It just means you didn't hit the bottom of the golf ball. You didn't hit the grass under the ball. Weaker grip, hands and weight on the left, 60-degree wedge. Cock your wrist early. Stay centered in the backswing. That's good right there, just like that. It's early set. Stay centered over the ball. Now make sure you don't sway off this ball. And as you start down, you let your body bring it through. You turn through it. And don't be afraid of a little bit of speed. Don't even stop here, just go all the way through it. All right, that should help you pop it up. Remember the rule of 12, guys. The way that works is you got a certain amount of carry, and then you've got a certain amount of, I'll do it better like this. You got a certain amount of carry for the ball, and then you've got a certain amount of run. Yeah? Okay. If this would be 5 and this would be 15 paces, you'd have a 3-to-1 ratio. You subtract everything from 12. 3 from 12 would be a 9-iron. Okay. Now I still got 5, but I'm going to run it all the way out. Now, let's say I've got 5 and this is 20. Now I got a 4-to-1 ratio. 4 from 12, 8. That's an 8-iron. But remember, you're getting the ball on the putting green only a couple, 1 or 2 or 3 paces at the most, and you're letting the run work out from there. Now I'll go back a little bit because I'm running out of screen here, but if I had 5 in the air and I had all this distance to run, say I got 5 and I got 25. Now I've got a 5-to-1 ratio. 5 from 12 would be 7-iron. And that rule used to be the rule of 11, interestingly enough, when I first learned this years ago, but they made clubs so strong now. Your pitching wedge is down to 45 degrees. Believe it or not, when I started golf in the 60s, a pitching 44 degrees was an 8-iron. 45 degrees was an 8-iron. So they're not just one club stronger, they're 2 clubs stronger. So that's why it's the rule of 12 now. But I want you to play with that math. You don't have to get a calculator out when you're playing. But if you practice with that in your mind and you just pace it off a little bit, you'll get used to the same. The beauty of it is that you get used to the same chipping stroke. You don't have to hit it this hard that one time and that hard another time. You just get your basic little chipping stroke, pulling the handle through, hands and weight forward. It's the easiest shot to execute. And then the rest of it is just common sense and logic. Okay, guys. Good to see you. Always a pleasure.